Okay, when you are preparing your paper for your final, first off, you always need to have your reference image next to you, or else you will suffer with proportions, shadows, everything. If you don't have your reference image, you will really struggle on this project. So you can pick any of mine that I have, or you can also pick some of your own. So you should have already done a basic sketch at this point in time and blocked out where your shadows are going to be. So now you should be moving on to your nice paper. So I did give you a drawing board, you have a square piece of paper, and at home, I hope you have some masking tape, some sort of tape. You are going to just tape all four corners. This will make sure that our paper does not come off of our page. So first off, we need to prep our paper. To do that, I'm going to take a piece of vine charcoal. I like to cut mine in half. Using a whole piece is just a little bit of overkill, I believe. So you're going to take your vine charcoal and you're going to hold it on its side and you're going to rub the entire piece of paper. We're doing this just like we did for our practice circle. So you're rubbing it all over the entire canvas. So it's just to set in a solid base. It really helps us take away and set in some shadows before we even begin. So before I blend anything out, I'm going to look at my reference image and I'm going to try and find my horizon line. My horizon line separates the sky from the ground. So I see a little faint line right here. That's where the angle really starts to go up, and that's where I believe that the sky separates from the ground. So I'm looking at it, it looks to be about 2/3 down. If I'm to use my measuring technique, put the top of my charcoal at the horizon line at the end of the paper, I can see 1, 2, 3. There's about 3 horizon spaces right there. So I'm going to just block in at about 1/3 of my page. This is something you can always change after the fact as well. So I look at my horizon line, I see it's about 1/3, and now I'm going to look and see where my object is. My object is a little bit lower than my horizon line, just a little bit. My horizon line is about right here, and it's about the same distance over as it is down. So it should be, if I'm looking at it and I'm measuring it, it should be about right here. So it's about the same distance from the wall as it is from one side of my object to the next. So I know that this is going to be about the same size. So using a pencil for this point, if you want to just use a pencil to measure, you can, but I'm just going to be approximating it using my eyes to figure out where it would be. So about here is going to be my bottom, the bottom of the bottle, and I'm just going to quickly block that in. So now I'm going to start to look at the structure itself. So it is centered in the middle of the page, so I have my area at the bottom, and it looks like I don't have anything that can quite measure that yet, but I see that the top of my bottle is about halfway between my horizon line and halfway between the top of my paper. So here's my horizon line. About halfway would be about right here, so I'm going to block that in. So that is going to be about the size of my my object. So I'm going to try and find the middle of it. I've blocked in where it should be, so this is going to be about the middle. Now I'm really going to kind of redraw my sketch. This is just going to be my basic outline, and I'm going to quickly draw that in. So I see that the edge is about the same as down here. Remember, all of these lines that I make, they are not set in stone. Charcoal erases really easily off of the page. So if I make something, I can just always go back and erase it. Okay, where did I... So it looks like I made that too large, so I'm just going to quickly go in and alter that. I am going for a more realistic style here. Not going for a cartoonish style. We are focusing on realism with this project. So I have the base of the object slightly blocked in with my Vine charcoal. Now I'm going to focus on the shadow. So the shadow is why I chose this. I feel like it's really unique to the object with the way that the lighting was placed. So I am going to just draw that in. It looks like the shadow itself is almost larger than my actual object. I'm going to quickly block in where I believe it would lie. My shadow is always going to end up being lighter. So I'm just going to block that in, and I'm just going to do a quick little layer of shadow. So at this point is where I'm going to start rendering in my objects. I'm going to be using my hand to just blend in the area of my shadow and the area of the object itself, just to have my base completed and to separate my object and shadow from the background and the drapery and all of that fun stuff. We will touch upon that later. So I have blocked it in. Now I'm going to go in and find my shadows, my shaded areas. Just like we did with the circle, I'm going to do just a quick layer of Vine charcoal on here first. And my shaded areas, and you should have already blocked this out in your sketch. I'm going to ignore the highlights for right now. There we go. And that's blocked in. I'm going to go with my finger. Could also be using paper towel, tissue, anything at this point. So I have my shadows blocked in. It's looking pretty accurate right now, but if I notice something when I'm rendering this more, I can always go back in and take up some of the charcoal. Okay, so I have my shadow set in place, I have it blocked out, and I did this all with my Vine charcoal. So that is where I'm going to stop for this video.